Hello, welcome back for the second session, and I hope that I can, finish it up with this probably in another 20 minutes. So we did talk about the documentation management, that how the folder structure that we're going to have in the ABAS, LAN. But as I said, that with our ABAS maturity, the tools that we're going to use, it will change. So let's talk about the PM documentation. Because as you know, the folder structure, and PM is responsible for a number of documents that has to tie in for a given project. And the first one is the plan and project tracking document, which talks about the resources, who is going to work on it, how long it's going to take, and what is the money that tied to it. So plan and project tracking. What we need to make sure that, as we know, that every project, right, it has a start date, uh, an end date. So let me change the cursor. So it has a start date, it has an end date, and it has fixed resources and budget, right? It's all defined during the planning. Every project, it must be tracked to ensure all those variables are met. Uh, so let's say if we have a start date like next week, but we don't start it for another 2-3 weeks. So that has to be that is a deviation, and that has to be addressed with the ABAS management. And one thing is that any deviation during the execution must be understood, and it has to be addressed by the PM. Right? Anything goes wrong with the resources, in a budget, timeline, and failure to meet any one of those variables at the end of the project would be evaluated to make sure that why did we fail, and what effort we should take not to make sure that we don't do the same mistake again. And from the ABAS in a project management, the tool that we're going to use the Microsoft Project. And for small projects, we can use the Microsoft Excel, or the similar version is Apache OpenOffice. We can use that one. And as you can see, that we're going to have the Microsoft project plan. Then we also have the ROM template in the PM folder. The next one is the issue log. So this is very crucial, the issue log, because for a given project, like when we start the project, there will be too many teams coming into picture. There's interactions and with different processes, different development objects. So there will be a number of issues that will come across, and all those have to be captured during the lifetime of the project. And the project plan that we have, it will track higher level task, right? That what are the different aspects to it, and I'll go into a project plan in a minute. Then the issue log, which is supported document, and must be used to track all issues occurred in the project lifecycle. Issues with development objects such as programming, we do not require tracking, but if it does, provided that it does not impact the project indicators such as time, schedule, or budget. If it does, then we need to track them in the issue log, and we need to address them. And the issue log has to be managed or maintained in the PM folder, and all issues should be closed before production deployment. So any issues that are open, that whether it's a business issues or it's application function issues or any other issues, that has to be closed, because this issue log actually tells at a given point in time that where do we stand with respect to a project. This along with the project plan. So now I will go to the project tracking well, with the project plan. So let me take up the DX grid as an example. So I'll go to the issue log, and I'll go to the project plan. Please do note that uh, for the PM, every document that we managed has to start with the project as a static plus the year and the project ID within that year, right? So give from the file name, we should be able to identify, whether it's which project it belongs to. And just like the phases, as we talked about in ABAS in the methodology, uh, your project plan should have all those different steps that we decided that we should follow. So for the DX Grid project as a template, you can see there's initiation, task. We have the requirement gathering, right, and we have the front end and the server, two different, part. Then we have the functional design, which is the blueprint. And in the blueprint, if you want to track, other things for a given project, then you can, track them at the level. But always do note that if anything that takes less than 8 hours, that you should not track in the project. You can just put it as a, task that you should track with a higher level task, so that your project plan does not become, so much that you cannot handle. So anything around like less than a day, you should not track. But make sure that those are captured at a higher level. Then the functional design, then because the DX grid we had two different phases. For a given phase, we have that configure build test, user acceptance test, then cutover task, and migration preparation, and go live and support. And for every phase, you can have, other objects that you want to track. Uh, and based on those, different steps on the higher level task, you can have, lower level task as well. And for every task, you define the start and the end date, when it should start, when it should end, and also define the dependency, the predecessor that has to complete before you start the next task. So this will give you a detailed understanding that when the project will start, when it will end, based on your task list. And this, a PM tool, the Microsoft project, it's available at ABAS. If you're a PM, you should have access to that one. And you can just, go through some of the project plans, and you can have a bit of in training. You can do the help manual to understand, how you should manage the project, and that should, and then you can take it from there. Okay. Let me close this one. No. The next one is we have another template for the issue log, and it follows the same naming convention, the project issue log. So every project issue log should have project ID, and number of columns that we need to maintain are the sequence, description of the issue, project phase if you have multiple phases, any module that you want to capture the issue against, and raised by who raised it, what date it was raised, who this issue is assigned to, who is working on it, what is the estimated completion date, what is the status, an actual completion date, and any comments. So these are the major columns that you need to maintain. And the moment a issue is raised which has impact to time, budget, and the plan, or the resource, you have to capture those things and make sure you track them and assign the right resources who should finish it up, and of course follow with him or her to make sure that these are being addressed. And as I said, all the status has to be closed before we do the production migration. I'll go back to the slide. The next one is the development object tracking slideshow. So the objective of this development object tracking is, if it is a big project, right, it has to be addressed by the development lead, or if there is something business, applications that we want to track, it has to be tracked by the functional leads. So the objective is that the objects to be developed to address the requirement must be tracked. So at a given point in time, we should be able to know that for a given object, where do we stand? Did we complete the development? Did we do the unit test and so forth? Tracking will contain the object description, technical name, resources, progress, etc. Everybody in the project team would be made aware of this document, that we have a document like this, and everybody knows where to get that, and this can be updated by only be updated by the lead, to make sure that just one person changes the document. And this particular document will be the basis for production migration and issue resolution upon user acceptance, right? So we have to make sure that we keep this document up and always in right status, and it should be maintained in the build folder. So in the build folder, we should have this development and test tracking. Now let's take a look at this document. So in the build folder, here is the project development and test tracking. So it will have this is a template that we're going to use for ABAS. So we're going to have project ID and the date last this document is updated. We're going to have the object number, it's a sequence number, then object name, what is this object is about, technical name. It can be, for example, we're doing writing a report, for example. So it will be the report technical name, what is the report description, what it does, the development status, person complete, unit test, who is working on it, developer, development completion date, unit test completion date, then integration test, person completion, integration tester who is doing it, and IT completion date, or the integration test completion date. So every object has to be tracked against its development status, so that we know that where do we stand from a project perspective. And it will be managed by the leads, but the PM should always consult the lead to make sure that everything is flowing according to the plan, because PM holds the plan responsible, and from that plan this document is derived, this object timeline, and the PM has to work with the lead to make sure that these two are in sync, because any deviation in one of these objects will impact the plan that PM is maintaining. So coming back to this presentation, now the meetings, how often the team should meet and how we should interact with the client. So usually, for a given project, if it is let's say 400 to 500 hours project, there will be like 2 meetings per week, preferably Monday and Thursday, because the ABAS week starts on Sunday, right, and it starts on ends on Thursday, right? I'm sorry, it starts on Thursday. So we can have a meeting on Monday and Thursday, or any other date or the day that the PM thinks it's more reasonable. And the topics would be that we're going to discuss the project, progress, issues, and we'll also update the project plan and the issue log, right? And if we have a client, then we can meet once per week, or once in 2 weeks, to notify the client about the project progress, where we're at, if anything pending with the client that we need to follow up with. And there would be one meeting per month with the sponsor for governance, just to make sure that if we're on track, the project status, delays, if anything we're expecting, any change in budget. And this only applies for projects and extending over 3 to 6 months. So when I talk about The medium projects is going to be 2 to 4 months. Small projects in less than a month, and big project is going to be 3 to 6 and 9 months. So for those, we have to keep the sponsor notified to make sure that we are doing everything that we agreed to. Now, just to put it together, this is where our the ABAS project steps, right? Then we have the client and sponsor, and this is where everything starts. The client demand management, right? And this is from where the ABAS PM team starts working, the development and initial gathering and so forth. And one thing that we're going to have a project kickoff when the ROM and the SOW is accepted. Then we're going to have a project kickoff with the client as well as our project team. And these are the deliverables that we will, the documentations that we'll do over the life of the project. And the first one is the PM plan and the PM methodology, how we're going to execute it. Then on the blueprint and design, we're going to have blueprint and functional design documents. And these functional design documents I'll address more in the execution, another course as a whole or the session. On the development or the realization side, we're going to have the technical design document, unit test document, functional test document, integration test, and also we're going to have the peer review. In case of if there's a development objects involved, we have to make sure that the coding done by one developer is reviewed by another developer, and that's what we call the peer review. After that, on the final prep, we're going to have the UAT document, user acceptance test. We're going to have the asset list, is what objects we're moving to production, the cutover plan, and support documents. And once we are live, we're going to capture the production issues and the support engagements. And all the issues are closed, then we're going to go to the project closure, right? So that's our ultimate goal with very good client satisfaction. And all those documents and the steps that we're going to follow up with issue log, status, governance, and meetings. And this is the ABAS PM map that we're going to follow, and these are all the deliverables, but do note that these deliverables may or may not be applicable for a given project, and that's something that we're going to decide, or the PM will decide at the beginning of the project, that which of these documents are relevant given the scope of the project. So folks, that's all for today. And for this session, I hope that you liked it, and we'll end the session. And there is another one that we're going to do regarding the project management, which is the project execution, because in that one I'll talk about functional design documents, technical design documents, asset lists, and so forth. Thanks. I'll see you in a next session. Bye for now.